The wait is over. You were waiting, right?
Oh, God. No. Please, no.
The end is nigh. Darwin and Cat are back.
In this episode, we're diving into the slow, painful decline of commercial radio. A once great medium, now overrun by corporate cluelessness, recycled playlists, and bloated egos behind the mic. We're not just mourning what radio used to be. We're unpacking how the industry sabotaged itself while clinging to bad habits and fake relatability. But don't worry, this isn't just a rant. It's a call to reclaim audio for the people, by the people. Let's get into it.
Darwin, radio had a good run, but like my Aunt Yolanda's Cold War Aqua-Net beehive, things go out of style.
Oh, Aqua-Net. I have a whole story about that, and I think it's what made me gay, but that might be for another time.
That's how it happens, you know.
No, do you know the Aqua-Net story?
I don't.
Oh, maybe at the end if we have time.
Okay.
Because it's not related to radio at all.
No, but it's related to gay, and I want to hear it.
Okay, and every woman screams when I tell this story.
Oh, my God. Okay. You're such a tease. We'll wait for that.
It'll be the extra for this week's episode if we have time. Okay, I always say commercial radio is basically 21 megahertz of suffering. That is how much frequency space AM and FM takes up on your dial, and it used to be so good. But today, there's little left of what radio used to be.
Tell me why, radio guy. Lay it on me.
Well, it's repetitive. There's rambling DJs. It's fake. I cannot stand the whole 10 songs in a row. Like, what is that? I've got 10,000 available on my phone like that in a row.
It does sound puny when it's 10 now, yeah.
Who's proud of that?
The hits just keep on coming. We got more hits for you, so stay tuned. Your music, your request.
The radio station you can't live without. This is your radio. The other stations are still playing commercials. Meanwhile, here's another hint. Your day sounds better with your music and your station playing on the background.
No requests. The contest could not be more cheesy, especially the cash giveaways. Those really irk me a lot too.
Okay, but don't forget traffic and weather together when everyone has smartphones. Thanks, eye in the sky, traffic and sports copter. But I have this little whore on my phone named Siri, and she's got me.
Did you just call Siri a whore?
I did, yes.
Fun fact, I have a story about that, and I'm going to share it.
You have stories. Okay.
I do. So when Siri was new, and she was mildly worse than she is now, I got really frustrated one day because it was not responding, and I just said, "Oh, stupid whore," to which she replied, "Great. From now on, I'll call you stupid whore." It also renamed my phone stupid whore. So anytime I used it, it would be there. And I kind of forgot about this. I left it. I thought it was funny. Fast forward a few years, I get my first job at the school district, and I'm on the admin team.
Oh,
so
no.
I'm working with the superintendent and all the principals, all the people in charge. And so right before I got my teaching cert, and we were in a meeting, and someone was going to airdrop a file to people in the room. And she goes, "Oh, great. Some kid in the building has their phone named stupid whore."
Some kid in the building. So you're sinking into your seat. I love that.
And I was like,
I love that. Okay, let's start with, I know you've heard this so many times, the all-new insert city name for today's best mix, live and local. First of all, it's rarely local. It's probably not live. And we have radio friends who are voice tracking 15 different markets.
And it's a really poor attempt to sound local. And who says that's the best mix anyhow?
Your mom?
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. That joke never gets old.
Ever.
And not knocking people that do this. The reason we have friends that do this is because the local live radio jobs evaporated and it's become their livelihood. So we're not knocking what they do.
No, not at all. That's just the state of the industry. Speaking of, do you know the myth of Cassandra?
I don't.
Okay, it's Greek mythology. Cassandra could see into the future, but she refused to bang Apollo because, ew. So he cursed her. And the curse was that no one would ever believe her predictions. She foresaw disasters like the complete fall of Troy, but no one listened to her. Well, we foresaw the downfall of radio, and we got laughed right out of the building.
Who did we refuse to bang that someone put that curse on us?
Oh, God, it wasn't the wrecking ball.
No. Ooh.
Ah!
You bring it back because we warned them.
Yeah.
And it was at the time, I remember satellite radio was new. Podcasting was the next thing. And not once did those clueless executives, the GMs, the operating manager, I think Dan, who we had on a few weeks ago, he got it.
Oh, totally. We love Dan.
Nobody else asked the question, why were consumers willing to pay for something they could otherwise get for free, especially satellite? And not once did they look in the mirror and say, what's wrong with me? I'm free and people are willing to pay. I mean, think about that. Like people weren't doing that. There was no thorough searching, just status quo, knee-jerk response, anything to destroy innovation and creativity. And this frustrated the hell out of us.
Reach. We were little Cassandras that everybody ignored.
Totally. And just brushed off. And so meanwhile, stations, this always, you know where I'm going to go with this because it irked me to no end. NAB, National Association of Broadcasters, our company, everybody having meltdowns about XM and Sirius. Yeah, we were giving away iPods as a grand prize, left and right. But wait a minute. Sirius and XM said they were separate companies. They were still radio. They're no different than a competing station in the market, a competitor. But an iPod? You're just cutting radio totally out of the equation. Let's think about that. They shunned satellite radio and instead gave away a tool that makes us obsolete.
They didn't really peek around the corner at that one. What about PDs, okay, who are 20 or even 30 years older than their audience, and they're trying to relate to Gen Z or worse, Gen Alpha, and they may or may not wear a members-only jacket? You know who I'm talking about.
Well, I have no idea what you're talking about. Who could that person be? That we worked for at one point possibly be? What? Yeah, just because a PD has programmed CHR for 20 years, it doesn't mean that he's qualified. And it's impossible for him to truly understand the format and the audience because he's much older. That's just the reality of it. That's just how time works.
I'll cringe. No cap, man.
You just.
That's what it sounds like. Wait, Darwin, listen, it's like the dare officer who came to my middle school and tried to be relatable. Hey, kids, I know you dig grass, but back in my day it was Mary Jane, and it's a bad trip, man. And we're like, how old are you?
I get it because I deliberately do these things and my kids know that I know you're not supposed to say JK LOL out loud.
I always do.
Yeah, I do. But they know I know better. Or I'll drop, I might once in a while say something. I might say something like Riz or Huzz or, Skibbity.
Getting into the toilet area.
They know that I know, but I also might put emojis in my presentations, which I know is also totally cringe. The teacher that's near me, there's a teacher near me that does it and doesn't know how uncool she is when she does it.
That emoji means you're 40. Ew. Are you about to die from old age? Gross.
So they think this year's class thinks I'm actually low key trolling her.
Ah, nice. Nice
which
little
is even
turnaround
funnier.
there. Excellent.
Yeah.
Good work.
That was all them. And I just think it's funny. But clearly radio is run by fat. They're always fat. I don't know why. Old.
They can be wide, yeah.
Yeah. Out of touch guys who just have no idea what the audience is except for on paper. Radio should be about the listener. Or as we would say, the lit. People get so fucking full of themselves so quickly. Excuse my French there. Especially weekend talent. Filling in and reading a liner card with just a bunch of sponsors about some booze cruise. And it's like, it's not about, I'm going to be on the ship too. Okay. Saturday, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. person. Yeah, right.
You're so right. They get like these hugely inflated egos. I used to read liners about a local podiatrist corn and fungal nail special, but I didn't think I was hot shit. I was always nice to people. Although members only once accused me of having a big head and he made me cry. Do you know this story?
Yeah, this sounds familiar. Remind me.
Okay. It was at EQX. We were starting to push a band from LA that was blowing up. And I knew two of the guys from my old band scene. So I'm filling in on middays and I called the bass player up on my cell and I said, hey, maybe you can call in to my show. We're playing your song. And oh my God, members only.
I remember this.
Oh my God. So members only busted into the studio and he started yelling at me. It's not your show. It's the station's show. How dare you?
How dare you?
Trying to get a guest on to make things more interesting for the listener. And he made me cry. So for the rest of my shift, I just read liners sniffing back snot.
I mean, it's like pork meal mix.
Thank you.
But wait a minute. Now I feel like there's more to this. Like, I feel like, didn't he ask you for an introduction to this band?
Yes. There's the irony. So a few years after I left EQX.
Okay, that's okay. I knew there was more to this. It was after you left. Okay.
Yeah, it was a few years after I left. I'm childhood friends with the president of their label. And Members Only Jacket came crawling to me for an intro.
What a loser. Like, are you like,
Hey, I'm gonna be in LA. Can you introduce me to so-and-so, president of big name record company? I was like, yeah, be sure to wear your jacket though. It's cool. It'll impress everybody.
that would have been good.
So Darwin, I want you to sum up, just blast through a list of why radio blows. And you can do this and go.
We're going to be here a long time. All right,
Okay.
I'll condense it. And I want your thoughts here too.
Sure.
So let's go. Let's see. Let's start off at the top. Out of touch executives.
Absolutely.
Well, I truly believe don't listen to their own product too. Let's go there too. You ever listen to the stream of a radio station where instead of over the air and it's the same PSA 15 times instead of the actual commercials? Yeah. No QC whatsoever.
Or what about the same consumer affairs show that runs every Sunday and it's always the same one because nobody wants to do a new one?
And they've never updated it. Exactly. So there's no quality control. Here's another one. Fake youth appeal.
Hey, kids, I'm cool.
Hey, young people. Like,
23
I'm here to be-
skidoo.
You ready to go skibbity? That's not even how that should be used, right? It's what we just talked about.
And I think 23 skidoo is from like 1914.
I've also seen where they'll try to send out an email. I recently, kid you not, a friend sent me a screenshot of an e-blast of CHR station sent out where they were desperately trying to appeal to younger listeners. It was full of emojis.
Oh, God.
And like, are you, the letter R,
Are
the letter
you?
U.
Yeah.
That has not been cool in over 20 years. That didn't go off.
That's how my Uncle Silvio sends a text. So, yeah, it's not
Yeah,
really
not-
hip and young.
Deregulation led to consolidation to death. The fact that you went from having 2 or 3 stations in a building or one to having 6, 9, 12. Okay, it was fun in that environment. We had a lot of cool people to work with, but there's a limit, right?
It doesn't breed a ton of creativity and individuality for shows.
And when you have a company that owns 40 alternative stations, they want them all to sound the same. And that's not really great.
Let's see what the other guy is doing. Okay, do that.
And then they're all doing the same thing. Let's be honest here. For a long time, radio's claim to fame, one of them was new music discovery.
Absolutely. I was a kid and I would, oh my God, I'm dating myself, but I would have my little cassette recorder and I would like record new songs off the radio and just,
So would I.
yeah, that was
And you
the
had to
place.
wait for it to come on.
Yeah. And then the idiot DJ would talk up the ramp. It's like, shut up, shut up.
Yeah, I used to hate that. And whenever we worked somewhere, they made us to talk up the beginning of the song. I'd
And
be like,
hit
I
that
hate
post.
I
Blech.
hate that. And there was a comparison I saw not that long ago, and it was comparing when music will be a top stream on maybe Spotify or Apple Music versus when it's a top played song on radio. And there was a 3-month gap on average. People were already bored with it and done with it on the streaming platforms by the time radio finally picked it up. Come on.
Meh.
Here's another one. Podcast envy.
Oh, yeah. They were so bitter to podcasts. Well, I remember the entire attitude toward podcasts when we were doing the original morning show. It was just like so snooty, like, oh, those are just, that'll never happen because it's only for amateurs.
And that was a terrible attitude. And we were trying to put our content in a podcast and we had no help and support to do that or anywhere to host it or anything too. And I think a lot of the industry doesn't know what to do with podcasts at all. They don't know how to format those.
It's such a backward way of thinking. It's like when the telephone was invented, people were like, oh, why would I need that when I can walk to my friend's house and leave my calling card? That'll never take off. I feel like it's the same thing.
It is. And I know there's been some companies they've tried to have podcast radio where they're playing just podcasts all the time, but it's really hard to have a schedule with appointment listening for that.
Right.
They should really maybe incorporate the podcast into a format, but nobody knows how to do that apparently. Ego over audience.
Oh, yeah.
That one. And that goes for management, I think, a lot more than necessarily programmers, because are there really any programmers anymore?
No.
Because, yeah, the playlist is being homogenized somewhere and being handed, right?
It's in Hell
And then-
5000 and it all comes out the same. Beep.
Power Gold is, Selector. These are programs that create the music, and they're great tools. I love using them, but everything's generic and the same, which gives me another point here. Too safe, too bland, and too forgettable.
Yep. I already forgot what we were talking about. It was radio, right? Yeah. Extremely forgettable.
I want to add another one in here too, and I want to quote the great Lee Abrams.
Oh, yeah.
Who revolutionized radio, and then at XM, when that launched, he revolutionized that too. And he has a blog and he posts a lot of his thoughts and shares them a lot about, and one thing he brought up back when XM launched that he still brings up now is the old playbook, like baseball, like a playbook.
Yeah.
That radio came up with a playbook that worked for them in the 1980s, and they've never strayed from it, and they've never changed it.
Radio is still wearing parachute pants and listening to Till Tuesday.
That is a great way to put it. Yeah. Still shooting those lasers in liners. Pew, pew, right? And when he was at XM, he had a cliche buzzer kind of thing. Like he would fire you if you had too many cliches. Like if you were a cliche person, a radio cliche, I think it was like 3 strikes and you're out.
Ooh. So what would be some radio cliches that would
10 songs in a row, right? Something stupid like that.
It's 2 for Tuesday. Let's dip into the mailbag.
Exactly. Anything that would have been like FM from that 80s playbook that was an insult to the audience. Yeah, there was kind of a thing where it was like, nope. And it was great. So he really, I don't understand why radio people don't listen to him. He puts it all out there for free. All this advice is right there for free.
It's right there. Maybe he's another Cassandra. Maybe he didn't bang somebody horrible and nobody believes him.
I'm sure his wife won't appreciate hearing that.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Lee Abrams. I get wrapped up in my nerd stuff. That was horrible.
I don't know. Maybe he did turn somebody down and they put a curse on him because he's very
long time ago before he met his beautiful wife.
There you go. I like that. No, Lee's great. And if you look up and follow him on Facebook or anything that he posts or his blog, he's a genius. I have a lot of respect for Lee. And it's right there. I will say there's one exception to all this, public radio for the most part. There are some public stations, whether they're classical or jazz, or even there's, some legendary ones. I know we've got KCRW in Southern California.
Mm-hmm.
There's here,
XLU in Southern California.
Yep.
A really great format.
WEXT locally here. There's some that are doing things differently. XPN in Pennsylvania. They're doing things that are different and unique. And what we're saying, I don't think applies to them because they're doing things unique and different.
No, they're working outside the system somewhat.
Yeah, they are. They're very rare islands. They're very rare. They're a very rare oasis in a sea of mediocre.
Blubber.
I can't even say mediocre. It's not even that good.
Yeah.
So I always say, let's not sit here and admire the problem. Let's also solve it.
Aha.
So Kat, what would you do to program radio better? What is your ideal station or stations?
Okay. My dream station would be kind of an alternative hard rock hybrid format, but it has to be both wide and deep. Wide in the range.
Oh, really?
I know that just sounds very naughty. It would be a very girthy format.
Oh, that makes it better.
Yes, thank you. It would be
so it's going to be girthy
every 8.5
girthy 101.5
10 minutes. You're listening to the girth. Grab it with 2 hands.
Okay, I like the station so far.
It would play a lot of different artists and go deeper into their catalogs. Instead of just playing the few radio hits that we know, you throw in some catalog songs that would also sound great on the air. People get sick of the same songs over and over. Oh, and lots of Go-Go's, at least once an hour, because my dream radio station would always play the Go-Go's.
More respect to the Go-Go's, who you just recently saw.
They were amazing. Saw them at the Palms Casino, Las Vegas.
So I saw the pictures. You look so cute.
Oh, thank you.
You're looking good. So what else would you play in the station? Give me some other artists. Give me some Girth. We said Girth FM.
I'm trying to think of some girthy bands. I would throw in what I consider gold, classic rock to me, which would be the Sex Pistols and the Damned and X-Ray Specs. Like that would be my gold. And I would even throw in some really great Black Sabbath in the mix. I would throw in gold songs from bands that you don't normally hear on the radio.
I like it. I like it a lot.
It's girthy.
I like it. I think you just named the format right there.
Thank you. I'm a radio genius.
You are. So I have several ideas. If you got a while.
Yeah. I lay them on me.
So, but I also want to say, if someone steals any of these ideas, we're suing. If they're like, right?
I'm gonna sue.
I think we should. Like, I'm kind of serious here. Like, these are we've got proof of these ideas here. So don't go stealing our ideas.
Putting a little stamp on it.
We are not putting those out there for you to just take. You have to contact us to consult with these ideas. So if you want to get girthy with your FM, you need
think twice.
Or these. Okay.
All right.
So I've got a whole bunch of ideas, and I've had these ideas percolating for you. All right. So one of them is I just call it like holiday radio. Really simple. Holiday radio. So remember the old movie with Bing Crosby, Holiday Inn?
Sure.
And when was the inn open?
Christmas.
And and holidays, only on holidays. Yeah. Right. Take that and make it a radio format, sort of.
Oh.
So it changes constantly with the seasons. So for example, you start off, let's start at the beginning of the year, right? You've got like, party radio for New Year's, and then it switches to like exercise, kind of a workout radio, right? And then when you get into February, like that's Amore radio for like love songs. And then you get into Mardi Gras. And then maybe Lucky around St. Patrick's Day. And March, maybe you also highlight movie music because you've got the Oscars. And I'm going to kind of run through the whole year. Like,
but what about weird holidays like National Introvert Day or International Spaghetti Day?
Yeah, well, they're kind of, I think you throw those in there if you can get them sponsored. Because
Okay.
the whole idea with this is you find local sponsors that don't normally advertise on radio. So maybe like
there's a Hug Your Cat Day too. We got to work that in.
yeah, maybe these are filler days, right? Yeah, they're kind of the ideas that the music is with a theme and it's always a little different. So maybe you get to prom season. That's a limited format, but you might have a day between maybe Mother's Day radio, whatever that is, and then maybe prom day, and you throw in the Hug Your Cat Day, something like that, where the format's always different. So like summer radio or class of whatever countdowns or beach party radio or like luau radio in August or it's just something Halloween, obviously you want to do. And
because I have PTSD from working in radio, I already hear the pushback at the meeting where you pitch this. People go to the radio for appointment listening. They want to know what to expect on what days. This
But they
would
don't
confuse them. Yeah,
Right.
maybe 30 years ago.
I mean, and the things you're saying, like these little things, Cinco de Mayo is another one. That's a micro holiday. You know, you're just one day, you're doing something.
You know,
Or if
my
there's-
friends and I, we drove into the Mexican Independence Day parade once. Did I ever tell you that?
Did you drive into it?
Yeah, we took a wrong turn driving around Tijuana, and coming towards us was a giant parade with mariachis and I'm like, oh my God, that's the Mexican Independence Day parade. Whip a bitch, get out of here.
You didn't just join the parade and, you know,
Not in our little Honda Civic. We wouldn't have blended really
you would
well.
have stood out a little bit. Of course you did. I've driven with you. We've talked about it.
Yeah, I would drive into a parade.
Things like maybe if there's a space shuttle launch, I don't know, music from space for a day. I don't know. I have a whole list of like ideas. Black History Month or Black Music Month, you know, or Black Jazz, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a whole idea. Like make it always different where you're bringing in different advertisers, different sponsors. Okay, so that's one. Here's another one. And because I think I finally looked up the right way to say it when we talk about our generations between us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's Zennial radio.
It's Zennial. It's not Xenial. It's Zennial.
Or Xenial. Some people say Xenial.
Okay. Potato, potato.
So Zennial or Xenial.
Just don't
There's a
say
big-
geriatric millennial.
correct, because I will go off the rails.
Oof.
There's a big debate about Zennial and Xenial, so I'm going to go with Zennial.
Good.
Zennial radio.
I
I'll
support
just go
you.
with that. The idea is like a modern AC. So modern AC is kind of mostly alternative with some pop and mainstream hits mixed in. But it's centered on 1993 to 2013. And the whole tagline is basically music from when you were in high school until you have kids in high school.
Oh, I like that. That's
Yeah.
cute.
And it's kind of encompassing, you know, this whole range of music roughly. And I said it's centered on, it can veer from those years where there's no ads, just a top of the hour where it's like, this hour is brought to you by sponsor. That's it. And it's live 24 hours a day. But
by
it's hosted
Centrum Silver, you old fuck.
well, right. It might be, or like whatever you're doing your colonoscopy prep. So, you know, whoever.
Gotta
whatever,
drink
Miralax.
the brew and sit on the can. What's on the radio?
Right. But the thing is, this generation, because it's crossing two generations, has a great sense of humor about all of this stuff.
Love it.
And I think you do that one sponsor and it's live all the time, but hosted by people from the age group, you know, remotely from wherever they live. So for example, you know, Cat live from Las Vegas, right? You're doing your shift from there, or the Darwin live from Albany, right? Where you don't have a studio, but it's obviously an online station, but terrestrial stations could carry this.
I
as
dig
kind
it.
of
I dig
you know,
it,
it's like
man.
they get like a nationwide format that's online, but also done different. It's funded through this, you know, you charge a premium and all that. Okay.
Okay, you got another one?
I have two more.
Okay.
I'll give you two more. I have 20 more.
Oh, God. Yeah, two.
This one's different. This one is an unhosted format.
Oh, you're cutting us out completely.
Totally.
Cool.
Yes.
I got
This
things
is
to do
one-
anyway.
This is unhosted. So, you know, the chill format, there's a channel
Sure.
on Sirius XM Chill. Yeah. Centered more on classic chill, not so much the modern stuff, but more like the 2003 to 2013 chill. There's no commercials and it's just same kind of concept. This hour is brought to you by in a very chill voice where not interrupted, where you're chill, where your vibe is not interrupted, where it's great for studying or
I
just
would love
mood
that.
music.
Yeah, because I would love to have that just on in the background, whatever I'm doing.
You're making it a utility in the background. You can sleep with it on, or you can study with it on, or cook, or just
anything with it on.
anything. You got it. And the idea is that overnights you're going to be a little more down tempo. And the idea is that it's taking that, okay, I got a frequency. I don't know what to do with it. Let's do this. Let's just load it up with this music and automate it and have it sold by an hour sponsorship that's calmly mentioned at the top of the hour. Boom. It's a good way to make some cash and then keep people employed on your other stations.
Man, you really know radio. I just want to play the Go-Go's.
Well, that's a good one too. I like
There's
yours.
something there.
But that keeps somebody employed on your Go-Go's.
The Girthy Go-Go's network.
I like it. I don't know why I like it, but
Thank
I like
you.
it. And one more. Okay, this one's out there. This one's weird. Nobody would go for this ever. Space age bachelor pad radio.
Ooh, that sounds very Jetsons. I like that.
It is totally Jetsons. And this one is totally a different idea. So this is going to cover a wide range of things. Yes, you're going to have Sinatra and Dean Martin and those guys, right? You're going to have that music. But you're also going to have the whole space age sound, the jet set pop, the cocktail music. So think an Exotica. So think like
Yes.
Martin Denny,
I love Martin Denny.
Esquivel.
Yep.
Henry Mancini, you'll get, a lot of Les Baxter. I can't forget him.
Yep.
Some of these like really unique music on there. And some of it might be a little bit weird. There's some like weird stuff. Throw in Herb Albert and the Tijuana Brass.
Why not?
And just kind of here's my idea with that is people are looking for, especially younger people, something different they don't know that they can learn to know. This is why yacht rock was so popular. It
Right.
was music they didn't know by artists that aren't necessarily touring that was different enough and unique enough, and it had a vibe.
It invited people into the genre. Step onto my yacht.
Yeah.
Grab a reunity.
Yeah, this one is step into my bachelor pad where I've got a tiki bar set up and I've got this chill, kind of cool vibe going on. Basically fun. It's a fun format.
And some blue pills in my pockets, ladies.
Nah, we're more thinking booze. But
Okay. Yeah. Harvey Wallbanker or something. Yeah.
Right. Well, think about a sponsor. So this one's brought to you by Seagram's. And the commercials, instead of being a commercial, would be a cocktail recipe. So you're advertising for a beverage, like maybe vodka, but you're giving the commercials a cocktail recipe. So make your commercial something unique. Or what would a bachelor or bachelorette be doing? Well, bachelor might be spending his time on his boat. Well, here's some yacht tips, but work it in as a commercial. So the commercials are not blatantly commercials, but they're fun, but they fit with the format and the kitschiness of it.
What would the Bachelorette, what might she be doing?
I don't know. I
know.
have to find one.
She might be crying into her wine spritzer because the Bachelor never called her.
There you go. Here's your therapy, lady. So that's the idea. And it's meant to be mildly sexist. I'm not going to lie. Because that era, that kind of was the sexist thing. But in a
I don't
way
know if it's sexist. It's just kind of like a masculine swagger. I think there's nothing wrong with that.
Sure, without it being that toxic.
And really,
masculinity.
gals, who doesn't like a little pat on the ass occasionally?
We're not encouraging that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But it's kind of making fun of the fact that was a thing at one point.
Sure.
Where they would call what were the terms they would refer to women as back then, right? Dames.
Dolls, broads, dames,
Broads. Yeah.
slits.
I don't know, it'd be
Wait,
fun
did they
for
say
them.
that?
Did they? I don't know. I wasn't there. I didn't see it on Nick
You
at
didn't
Night.
hang out with these guys.
But I think there's a lot of potential for it to be a fun format. So those are some of my ideas.
So here we are. Darwin, radio didn't die overnight. It pretty much bled out slowly from 1,000 bad decisions, tone-deaf executives, and I guess just a refusal to evolve.
Yeah, and it wasn't just mismanagement. It was actually, sadly, and I say you and I, this cuts deep for us as a former morning show.
Yeah.
It was a betrayal of the listeners.
Yes. Because poof,
It
one
was.
day you're gone and there's no explanation.
And it was a betrayal of the people who made radio magic, the morning shows that really cared, that were different, the programmers who had a different idea, who were pushed out the door because they were using that old playbook, and people who loved it, people who lived it.
But here's the thing. I don't think we're bitter. We're just done pretending that the emperor isn't naked and yelling live and local from a pre-recorded studio 2 time zones away.
Well said.
Thank you.
I'm not bitter. I'm sad. Something I used to love to do, like you said, bled out
Mm-hmm.
and is pretty much DOA. The good news is audio is not dead. Just found a new home. Podcasts, indie creators, weirdos with something to say. There's a whole sea of them.
I know too.
And this is where the soul of audio lives now.
So if you've got something real, something honest, just say it, make it, share it. Don't wait for permission. Don't go by some out-of-touch loser's rules because the airwaves aren't theirs anymore. They're ours and they're yours. Okay, I want to know your Aqua-Net story.
Oh, the Aqua-Net story. Okay,
Please.
so this is our bonus feature for this week's podcast. So when I was a kid, I had to go get allergy shots every week.
Ah, you were the allergy kid. Okay.
Yeah, that was
Painting
me.
a picture. Mm-hmm.
And I'd go up to the doctor's office. It was a little small town doctor's office. And when you go in, they had different exam rooms. And the one on the left was the pediatric. And then the one next to that was their x-ray room. And then on the right, there were 3 different rooms and like 2 regular exam rooms. And then the ladies' exam room.
Ooh.
So you would go in there and there was the table with the stirrups.
Oh,
and
yeah. Hello, my old friend.
Yeah. And the poster on the wall of, the internal organs of a
Like a
lady.
uterus or a cow. You can't really tell.
Yeah, it was that thing, the uterus, what you said. And sometimes they would just, when you got your allergy shot, they would just put you in whatever room was available. Often I would end up in that room.
In the
So I'd
uterine cow room?
Yes.
The lady
And-
room. Okay.
And there's that, they would have like sometimes, I don't know, tools and things on the counter. And I'd just be like, bleh. But this is so horrifying. There was always a can of Aqua-Net in there.
That's our
So
secret weapon, Darwin. And they spilled the beans on that and let you know.
So one day I'm in there and I said to the nurse, I have a question. And this is maybe like 14-year-old me.
Yeah, honey. What's your question?
So I said, I have a question. And she sits down and she looks around at the posters and she's probably thinking I'm going to ask something about ladies, right?
Where do babies come out of? Which hole?
I think she was ready for that. And I said, why is there Aqua-Net in here?
I would want to know too.
So she said, well, sometimes, she said, sometimes some women aren't good at trimming. And so the doctor has to spray and comb the hair out of the way so he can see for his exam.
What kind of jungle bush do they have going on in your little town? What?
I wish we were recording video. Because the horrified look on your face is what happens every
Aqua-Net on pubes? Teased? Early 90s, late 80s pubes?
So every time I see Aqua-Net, all I can think of is like Granny's out of control down there.
Oh! Looking much better down there, Grandma. Now
I've never been
scooch
more
forward.
sorry. I've never been more sorry I've asked a question in my life.
Did they think that Aqua-Net made you gay?
I think it did. Because my thought was like, holy shit. Like at some point, I'm going to have to see a lady part and it's going to be so much hair. I don't know what to do. Like I didn't know.
So now we know people aren't born that way. It's just the Aqua-Net.
I'm like, but she did this motion like spraying and then combing it out of the way. Like
Looking
Bride
good,
of-
Estelle. Morty's going to love this when you get home.
Thing hasn't seen daylight in decades. Like the Bride of
You could
Frankenstein's hair.
crack it with a hammer. It got so stiff. Thank you, Darwin. I'm going to
You're
go throw
welcome.
up now.
Now, every time you see a can of Aqua-Net, you're going to think of
I'm absolutely scarred.
I can't believe how long we've known each other.
And you never told me about
Never
that.
heard the Aqua-Net story. Yeah. All right. Well, that was a good show.
Good seeing you, man. Thanks for that.
I don't know how we're going to top this next week, but we'll try.
Figure it out. Hey, thanks for finding the Darwin and Cat podcast. Like what you hear? Well, please subscribe. And if you're on YouTube, hit the bell notification so you're the first to know when new episodes drop. Thanks for being here. We appreciate you more than you know. So stay curious, stay kind, and stay weird.
This episode has been brought to you by Aqua-Net.